Do we know each other? This feels familiar. I can't seem to... I've forgotten it. I'm sorry. My name is Alan Wake.
Hello everyone, my name is Josh, aka the Biscuit Eater, and I want to welcome you to another episode of my long-form Let's Play of Control by Remedy Games. For a moment there, my brain just went poof. It's been that kind of day. Alright, and if you're not familiar with this game, or this is your first time here on the YouTube side, you know that there is a link to the playlist in the description down below. Of course, I do appreciate those who are watching on Twitch, whether live or in the VOD. I do encourage you all to join me every Monday and Wednesday from 7:30 p.m. until 10 p.m. Pacific time, where I play games live on Twitch. And if you're sitting here talking with me, I will talk right back at you, because that's what makes this so much more fun for me as a player. That all said, let's get back into the game. When we left off, we had unfortunately had to put down our friend who started the whole issue with the nail. Turns out she didn't protect the nail from the hiss, and she was taken over. We had to put her down in a very difficult battle that took the majority of the last episode. But we're gonna go ahead and continue now. I'm assuming this next one is going to take us to the next stage, or the next DLC.
Welcome back, Director.
Darkness engulfed the elevator. There was something there, reaching for her, trying to make her act. It was a distress call. Faden sensed a drowning man, a hunger in the dark.
Oh yeah, this is
Investigation sector.
Investigation sector, huh?
This is definitely Alan
check
Wake
this
related.
out.
This is AWE. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and see what we just earned. Boom, 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 boom. Hot lap.
Darkness engulfed the elevator. There was something there. A presence. Jesse Faden could hear it. A call. It was faint, reaching for her from a dark place. Faden was sensitive to visitations. She had them all the time. From her guiding star and the previous director. She was the perfect receiver. As if she'd been made for this. Faden paused to feel it. The force at play here. It was changing things around her, subtle, trying to make her act.
He's
Faden
typing.
didn't like that. Her guide felt it too. Polaris didn't flare up in defense as with the hiss, so it wasn't all bad. Not a hostile transmission. It was powerful, but it was coming from far away, and made weak because of the distance. It was a distress call. Faden sensed a drowning man, a man desperate to escape. She sensed something else, too. A hunger in the dark, not unlike the hostile resonance, waiting. She knew that desperate acts can have grim consequences. It was this, more than the man's despair, that made her follow the call. The elevator lights winked back on. The darkness receded like a memory. There was a new button on the elevator control panel. Investigation sector. Faden pressed the button. The elevator doors slid shut with practiced bravado.
He's typing all wrong. All right. So, yeah, we're gonna go ahead. Alan Wake, which that's always interesting, and investigation center. What happens? Oh gosh, please tell me I'm not gonna have to do Alan Wake style. I'm gonna have to do Alan Wake style. Okay.
Hello? Anyone here? Guess not.
Okie dokie. You're powered up.
Seems a lot more crowded than the rest of the bureau.
Also seems very familiar. Like a place where Jesse was an office intern. Missing agents. Mr. Kirkland, here are the latest agents confirmed missing, presumed dead, from the containment breach yesterday. Agent Jonathan Conner, Researcher Ezra Cruz, Agent Carolyn Dempsey, Agent Lindsay Malcolm, Agent Charles Murray, Agent Derek Shaw. Letters of condolence will be delivered to you to sign prior to sending them to their families. You will be updated as soon as additional confirmations are made. Also, per your request, a network engineer checked how many cases were backed up digitally. Unfortunately, a large number of active investigations were not archived yet, and only the hard copies of reports exist behind the firebreak. They are lost, I'm afraid. Definitely running low on space, so okay. Here, anything? Get rid of anything that's duplicate. Oh, that gives us a little bit of wiggle room. Darling investigation. Internal confidential. RE Dr. Casper Darling. Per authorization from Mr. Kirkland, an internal investigation D-8084-5 was launched into the ethical practices of Dr. Casper Darling, head of research. Despite the accounts of anonymous redacted regarding inhumane treatment of a redacted currently housed in the Bureau, our official findings regarding this were inconclusive. Numerous obstacles arose during this investigation. The majority of redacted sector personnel seemed to be wholly unaware of any such redacted contained there. One redacted confirmed the redacted's code name to be redacted, but all files pertaining to that name were inaccessible, being classified under the highest clearance level. Investigators were similarly blocked from entering the redacted research wing to interview its staff. The matter was further complicated by the lack of clarity on whether non-human paranatural entities warrant humane treatment. While this investigation cannot address any charges against Mr. Darling, we do recommend an investigation into redacted research. Casey inquiry. Mr. Dennis, a request came through recently from an FBI agent asking for all files on Bright Falls, specifically on the disappearance of the author Alan Wake. For the Interagency Information Exchange Agreement, I had some paper pushers gather up a folder of all of the pre-approved files. Don't worry, all the inappropriate material is either missing or redacted. But I'm writing to let you know that we received this request from a special agent named Alex Casey. Sounds familiar, right? That's because Alex Casey is the name of the fictional detective in those hard-boiled crime books Alan Wake wrote. Pretty interesting that an FBI agent sharing a name with the most famous character Wake wrote is looking into a case dealing with a writer's fiction coming true. I think this is worth looking into. What's your opinion? Just give the word and I'll start surveillance on this guy. Interesting. lot of lore drops. To Chief Investigator Dennis. It happened again, third time this year. Something certainly has it in for our redacted. Maybe raccoons, the locals certainly complained about them enough. But why the hell would raccoons keep going after a monitoring station? Doesn't add up. Anyway, I got a bureau tech going to the site next week to take a look. Next on the list of recurring problems is the staff at the Lake House Research Station. How am I supposed to effectively keep an eye on Redacted Lake if they won't let me see any data? Hell, I don't even know what they're researching out there. We need to petition them again to share their info with investigations agents. It's only a matter of time before this Redacted hits again, and I want to be prepared. Anyway, if anyone at HQ asks why the Bright Falls report is a little thin this month, tell them it's because we couldn't take any readings. In the meantime, I might invest in some raccoon traps. I'm not going upstairs quite yet, because we still got other stuff. Staffing issue. Mr. Dennis. So yes, there is an increase in AWE cases, and yes, it would be a good idea to put together a special task force to examine exactly why that is. However, it seems like that a tiny little detail has slipped through the cracks. We don't have the damn staff. If you expect us to detect, investigate, and process more AWE cases, you need to give us more people. It's simple math. Between the staff we lost in the Hartman thing and the ones who left for other departments after Kirkland quit, we're barely managing to keep up with the workload. Hell, just filing the paperwork for all the altered items we left behind in this sector has been an ordeal. Another thing, and this is going to sound paradoxical, but we have an overcrowding situation. This lobby isn't meant to accommodate a whole sector's worth of staff. We put forward a motion to move investigations to a more suitable location months ago. It better not still be sitting on your desk. People are getting restless, and as Kirkland's interim replacement, it's your job to handle it. Interesting. Interesting.
It's not working. Probably a loose power core somewhere.
Resignation letter. To whom it may concern, it is with great anger and regret that I tender my resignation as head of investigations for the Federal Bureau of Control. I do this in protest of the rampant disregard for my department's redacted. My staff cannot continue to work in these conditions. Previous requests and warnings have fallen on deaf ears, so I must now rely on my actions to speak louder than my words ever could. I blame the situation on our redacted, who has routinely ignored my request for assistance in reclaiming the parts of the investigation. Parts of the investigation sector lost to the redacted, loose inside. I will never forget the screams of brave agents begging for us to open that firebreak. I will carry that shame for the rest of my days. The redacted has failed his agents. I shall never forgive him for that. Sincerely, William Kirkland. So there's something in containment. Bureau Tractor, Supplementary Materials. Burrow, not Bureau. Note, miscommunication led to a local coroner examining the body of William Burrow. Burrow William, male Caucasian. Case summary, 33-year-old man found dead on this property per police report. Remains obtained for coroner's office also included blood, urine, bile, stomach contents, and bone fragments. Autopsy finding: blunt force injuries, head. A lacerations, left ear cheek. Blunt force injuries, extremities. Dislocation, right knee. Complete avulsion of the right upper extremity with associated fracture of the proximal right humerus. Extensive trauma, abdominal region. Complete avulsion of multiple organs, including stomach, heart, liver, pancreas, kidneys, and portions of the large and small intestine, all missing from scene. Conclusion: it is my opinion that Mr. Burrow's death is not the result of mechanical accidents claimed by authorities. The removal of organs is consistent with animal attack. Okay. I need to find the other power cell, which is probably up there. And even more lore. We'll grab as much of it as I can here real quick. 3 more documents. Yeah, let's look at those documents. Director Investigation. Official Findings Report, Internal Confidential. For authorization from Mr. Kirkland, Redacted was launched into the Redacted of Director Zachariah Trench. A recent change in Redacted witnessed in Director Trench, including aggressive Redacted when redacted with other staff, has been observed. However, this investigation is aimed at interpreting the issue rather than proving it. Notable Redacted between Director Trench and Dr. Darling has been witnessed by numerous Bureau staff. Although both declined to meet for an interview on the matter, witness accounts suggest their arguments center around the Dimensional Research Wing and the Redacted kept inside. However, no evidence exists to confirm Director Trench's Redacted as anything more than an interpersonal disagreement. This investigation has concluded that Director Trench's behavior is not indicative of any Redacted and that his fitness to lead is not in question. Refer to file blank for a full report. Underhill background. Official Findings Report, Dr. Raya Underhill. Dr. Raya Underhill is a professor at the University of Woodrow in the United Kingdom, where she teaches biology with a focus on botany. Dr. Underhill once worked with the Bureau as a parabotanist stationed in the research sector of the oldest house. She served with no incidents or demerits, and is praised by those who formerly worked with her, including Dr. Darling. Dr. Underhill has no known connections to paracriminal organizations or any record of breaching her NDAs since leaving the Bureau. Her civilian behavior has been ideal, with the exception of an ongoing personal relationship with Dr. Darling that appears to have begun during their time as co-workers in the research sector and revisited intermittently ever since. Get a side piece. Depending on the duration of her work on the oldest house, it may be required to have both parties sign a relationship clearance form. This investigation has found no compelling reason to deny Dr. Darling's request to offer Dr. Underhill an interim position with the aim of finding a solution to the mold threshold issue. Interesting. So Dr. Underhill and Dr. Darling were sweethearts. Interesting. Correspondence. Trench. Official warning. Kirkland, I am growing tired of your blatant attempts to lay your incompetence at my doorstep. I know you want this to be true, but you are head investigations. This failure is your responsibility. What did you think would happen holding a dangerous specimen in investigations? The containment sector exists for a reason. They are better trained and better equipped for this type of work. In fact, they have admirably taken on certain AWE monitoring responsibilities that your staff are no longer capable of. This happens more and more now. And don't think that your petty internal investigations have gone past my notice. You are a worm. Everything I've done has been for the benefit of the Bureau. The Prime Candidate program only failed because of Darling. You are both failures plotting against me. You are traitors, but the truth will emerge out of you. You are choosing to become my enemy, Kirkland. You don't want to be. Zachariah Trench, Director of the Federal Bureau of Control. Eesh. Internal strife. Never a good thing. Okay, so not much up here I can do. So I was hoping to find a battery or something. Doesn't look like that's gonna happen. It's not here. So can I just unblock this? Guess so. Okay. I thought that was more difficult to get through. We have another Keystone inspection. Mr. Kirkland, we stopped at Keystone on our way to the target AWE like you asked. I am sending my report directly to you to try and keep a lid on this Grumman Morales desertion issue. We didn't find any sign of them here. Given their records, it is possible they've switched teams like you suspected. But I don't think that's the case. An event definitely occurred here in Keystone, and I think Grumman and Morales got caught up in it. The entire population has vanished into thin air. Reminds me of the Ordinary case, but that was just the adults if I'm remembering the file correctly. Different. I think our guys are casualties, not traitors. If it was an AWE, it seems to be over. We walked through the whole town, and the only strange thing we noticed were markings on various buildings. 2 overlapping circles with a dot in the shared space. It would be unrelated. I'll show you the pictures when I get back. In the meantime, you should send a team out here to cordon this place off and maybe get the comms guys working on a cover story. Interesting. There's where it needs to go. Tractor procedures. Item is not in Bureau custody. Unknown. A Frank Elk tractor, olive green. Fried blood on the grill when last seen. Item is capable of vocalized responses or growls and unmanned locomotion. Considered highly aggressive and dangerous. Great. The item first came to the Bureau's attention after the death of William Burrow, owner of the Burrow farm outside of Trenton, Texas. Local authorities arrived on scene after an employee found the mutilated body of Mr. Burrow beneath his tractor. Police arrived but were immediately driven away by the tractor. Panic calls to federal authorities were intercepted by Bureau communication staff. A team was dispatched. On arrival, the agents approached the item. It responded by growling like a bear. 3 agents were injured when they tried to detain the item, which escaped. Oh my goodness, I am so sorry, folks. Aerial searches for the item are ongoing. Begin Mrs. Burrow only revealed that she had a domestic altercation with Mr. Burrow earlier the night of the incident. Whether these events are connected is currently unknown. Okay, so we need to find... investigation. For authorization for Mr. Kirkland, internal investigation P-142-9 was launched into the legality of the Prime Candidate Program, redacted by the Federal Bureau of Control. As all known subjects relevant to the investigation use executive privilege to decline interviews, very little first-hand information was gathered. However, anonymous sources and documentation declassified by Mr. Kirkland both paint an alarmingly clear picture again my apologies, of systemic and redacted were brought into the oldest house and placed under redacted examination and testing with the aim of appointing one as director upon maturity. This program has produced no successful cases and only resulted in the traumatic redacted of parent naturally inclined redacted. Not only is this in breach of the Ash Act, but it flies in face of basic human redacted. The investigation team unequivocally redacted the Prime Candidate Program and recommends that it be redacted immediately. Knife bullet. Yes, I can.
Now that gate should open.
Okie dokie. Should let us continue. This area is huge. And we have a stopping point, and control point.
I'm no detective, but something definitely happened here.
The Blessed Organization. This group, individual, has operated outside of the Bureau's notice for decades, perhaps longer, displaying a level of skill and caution rarely seen in paracriminal groups. A review of past cases has found various mentions of their activity over the years. In 2016, a production company called Blessed Pictures was connected to an altered item case, as well as the death of an agent from exposure to illicit paranormal materials. In 1994, a Los Angeles-based public speaker named Chester Bless was involved in the illegal use of an altered item. In 1988, a business called Blessed Repair and Service was suspected of involvement with an object of power case, perhaps even creating it. None of these businesses nor individuals have ever been located. However, Their connection to appearances of altered items and objects of power is too direct to be considered circumstantial. An arrest order has been issued for any persons believed to be involved with the Blessed organization. Oh, we gotta go through... It's been a while since we headed over there.
Do we know each other? This feels familiar. I can't seem to... I've forgotten it. I'm sorry. My name is Alan Wake. Who are you? Who are you? Do I know you?
I'm your friend Tom. Tom Zane. There's nothing to worry about.
Tom. The poet. The diver. You look different.
That was just a role. A character. The protagonist I played in my old film. I'm a filmmaker. An auteur like yourself. We're working on this together, remember? An artistic collaboration. You need a drink.
Night screens. Ah. What did Darling have to do with night screen?
Endless darkness. Nothing holds still.
We're very close now. You've been writing. You found a way to escape. It'll work this time.
Riding?
You found a way!
No. I don't... Wait. There's something. It's my double. He's out there. I've seen him.
Yeah. Nothing to worry about. I'm dealing with it. It's fine, my friend. Let me handle him.
You've met him? What the hell?
Now, come on. You misunderstand me.
That was Alan Wake, the writer who went missing in that AWE case I read about. What's he doing here? And Thomas Zane was with him. The poet. No, wait. He was a filmmaker. I always remember that wrong.
Oh. What's the name? Okay. Ring the bell again. ho. Okay. Let's send me back. We don't want yet. I want to figure out what to do here. I can't turn it back on. I have no powers in here. Yeah. What's so important about that?
Dr. Emil Hartman, devoured by hungry darkness, became the thing that had been Hartman. Broke loose, killed everyone it could, lurking, roaming, waiting. Then something else came. A resonance. The thing that had been Hartman went through another change.
Okie dokie, I guess that means it's time to check the hotline.
Dr. Emil Hartman was desperate. The Federal Bureau of Control had stolen his life's work. This was his last chance, his final experiment. What he'd been too scared to do before. Hartman dove into the lake, was taken, devoured by hungry darkness, became the thing that had been Hartman. Only an echo of him remained, fragmented impulses on autoplay, violent, bloodthirsty darkness in the driver's seat. Emerging from the lake, the thing was captured by the FBC, brought in, contained, studied. The thing broke loose, killed everyone it could. The FBC fell back and sealed the sector. The thing was alone in the dark, lurking, roaming, waiting. Then something else came. Not darkness, but similar enough. A sound. A resonance. It shouldn't be a surprise. If there's one, why not another? The darkness inside the thing could have been immune, could have resisted, fought, could have been passed by, passed through with no effect. But it didn't, and it wasn't. Maybe it had grown weaker over time, not aged. It was timeless, but weaker with no link to its source. A metamorphosis followed. The thing that had been Hartman went through another change.
Interesante. Nothing we can buy for 3, I don't think. Oh, we could buy extra melee damage, I guess, or these multiple enemies. Why not? Sure. was purposefully broken. You see that? That's not encouraging. Looks like that's where we're going. Hi, Asmo Sprite. Don't eat me, Asmo Sprite. Mike, I don't like you, Asmo Sprite. We're able to go down here, and we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. I see a blood trail. I don't like the blood trail. I see squished people. Oh dear. And you're not responsive, so let's go over. See lots of yellow meat. Oh shit.
Creepy, damp, and abandoned. Why did Wake want me to come here?
Because he did. I heard that. And of course, there will be hiss here. Is there a hiss every freaking where? I'll take all this one. Oh, man. Now, there are times when some of this advertisement actually also reminds me of the laundry files. So, yeah, it's a mix of S.C.P and laundry files sometimes. All still couched heavily in horror. Okay. I do not like that. I don't like that one bit.
That doesn't look like a house shift.
No.
Do I even want to know?
Yeesh. We're gonna go ahead and capture this control point. Let's check you out. Alright. You know what? We're actually getting to almost 40 minutes here. We went a little over long on the last episode. We are actually going to go ahead and resave here. Going to shift there. And we are going to go ahead and end. Alright folks, with that we're going to go ahead and close out this particular YouTube video. Thank you very much for joining with me today. I hope that you had as much fun watching this video as I had in creating it. That said, if you do enjoy what I'm doing here, please make sure that you help me out with the YouTube algorithm. You know what to do. Like, comment, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Also, make sure that you click that notification bell. That way you get notifications whenever new videos go live on the channel. You are also welcome to follow me on all my various social channels. You can find me online on Twitter as @BiscuitEaterYT, on Facebook as The Biscuit Eater, and of course, I do stream all my videos live every Monday and Wednesday from 7:30 p.m. until 10 p.m. Pacific Time on twitch.tv/Biscuit Eater. Hope to see you there. Lastly, since you stuck around this long, you're going to see some videos popping up here. You should see over here the last video that I uploaded to the channel, and over here you'll see a video that YouTube thinks you're going to really like, so check them out. Finally, of course, I do appreciate you all being here and want to thank you for joining me, but until I see you next time, game on, lovelies.